All right, people, you know that sound is the Unfiltered band means, yes, another episode of Unfiltered coming your way. This is officially going to go down as episode number 135. It's an Unfiltered live impromptu in the morning on a Wednesday where the Yankees didn't start the fire, but they definitely put it out. Jumped to the Yanks reportedly for 9 years, $360 million. That's 40 per. For those without TI-82 calculators, a record-breaking free agent contract in a situation where it had to happen, and it did happen. The Yankees needed him. He wanted and sort of needed them, and they come back together, and Yankee fans can breathe once more. Welcome once again to Unfiltered. We'll break it all down here live. You can obviously chat along the way on Twitter as we go, as many are still asleep. Some still waking up early in the morning out on the West Coast at winter meetings. Here in the East, we have the pleasure of doing sorts of things like this live, and we say this because we are, as always, presented by our good friends at Bet Online. Basketball's back. Bet Online remains your number one source for your sports betting needs this season. Latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends over at Bet Online, your continued source for your sports wagering information. Bet Online's got live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports and events, whether it's NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, even golf. All you got to do is head over to betonline.ag to join and get your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. It's BetOnline, where the game starts, and we get started here. Yesterday was a crazy bananas day, as it was the Arson Judge day, and we'll always have Arson Judge. The Giants may have him, but they don't have Aaron. This played out in a way where the Yankee fans and the Yankees as a team, they knew what life was going to be like without Aaron Judge. They understood the need and the desire and the determination that was there from the ownership and the pockets to Brian Cashman to Booney to everybody on that team, that Aaron Judge had to be there because, remember, there's a reason the guy won the MVP. We looked at the lineup and what it was like even with him in it and how much he became everything and anything. You got to lead the guy off. So hopefully, at least for an AB, you don't pitch around him because there just wasn't much there a lot of times last year. This was a team who's had a lot of success over the years. However, when you look at what they've done, try imagining what they would have not been able to do if Aaron Judge is not there. So when you get in a situation where the San Francisco Giants are hot to trot and offering $360 million, and certainly with the taxes, there's a difference in what you're saving on that deal is about $7 million, I think, for him to go to New York. There were even reportedly now, and this is in flux as I do this live, there are reports that there were higher offers, whether they be for the Giants. Who knows if it's going to end up being the Padres or the Dodgers or whoever, right? Maybe those are the four teams in the mix. But Aaron Judge went to San Diego not knowing if he's going to be a Yankee. He could be a Giant, he could be a Padre, he could be a Yankee. The Yankees had to put up or shut up. They were going to have to give Aaron Judge as close to top dollar as possible, and certainly at least give him the impression it's the most that they could possibly give. And giving him a 9-year contract at his age, no matter how great he is, no matter what season he just came off of, at $40 million a pop, does that. But I want to say this at the forefront, and I tweeted this earlier. Every fan base goes nuts about deals when they go to crap. When at the back end of a deal, you see years that you get nothing out of. And that is the price of admission. When you want to play with the big boys in free agency in the four major sports, you are looking at the extra term, the extra years at the back end of a deal that you got no idea what you're going to get. And that's whether you're staying in New York and Edwin Diaz, years 4 or 5 for $20 million a pop for a closer like he just signed recently, whether it's Jacob deGrom, where if you're in Texas, you're hoping somehow to get 3 great years out of the 5 he just paid, maybe even 6 he could get at 185 plus, whether it's Garrett Cole, who's currently on his own 9-year deal for the Yankees, no matter who it is, you know you're eating money at the end. And a lot of times you say to yourself, is it worth it for us to make this deal? Because I don't want to eat all that money at the back end. And that's fans. It's not even your pockets or your money, but this is what we do. And this is what we do when we cover the game. What is the risk? What is the calculated risk? And why do we have to do it? Why is this a deal we have to make? This is a rare scenario where literally not a single peep, not a sound, not a whisper. I don't want to hear a damn thing out of any Yankee fan, out of anybody related to the media that covers the Yankees, out of nobody whatsoever. No one. Because even in the 45 minutes to an hour that we went from arson judge to wait, it's not happening, to there's still buzz in the lobby at winter meetings. And I've been there. And that, look, when there's smoke, there's fire, pun intended with the arson thing, whatever. In those moments, Yankee fans got a glimpse of life without Aaron Judge. How did it make you feel? So I don't want to hear about years 7, 8, 9. Now, you're not going to hear it today from a Yankee fan, and you're going to have people who are going to be cranky in other places, and a lot of it jealousy in covering other cities in places where they want Aaron Judge, and I said, I wouldn't have given the guy 9 years. The hell you wouldn't have. If you signed the 9-year deal, you would have been getting an Aaron Judge all-rise tattoo. I don't want to hear it. But nobody can say a peep if you're a Yankee fan because you saw life without Aaron Judge and what it looked like and felt like to you and started to imagine, what is that going to look like for your team? Well, here's what it looks like. It looks like waiting for a year for Shohei Ohtani and offering him whatever you have to do and hoping that somehow he's your savior, giving Rodon I don't know how many years and hoping somehow you get better that way. And I'm sure they'll still be in on him anyway, even after the Judge signing. But that's what it looked like to you. It looked like we are desperate. We are now, who's the face of the franchise moving forward? Tell me who it would have been. Life without Aaron Judge and that tweet from John Heyman and arson Judge and all of that, it gave that Yankee fan that idea of what that's going to be like. Now, do I think that tweet and what happened, and we'll see here what comes out and what plays out with this over the next 24, 48 hours in terms of what happened behind the scenes, do I think that the Yankees were at 330 and they offered $30 million extra after that tweet? No, I don't think so. Is it very possible that all three teams were still talking and whatever the Yankees had been told, hey, look, if you go here or we need you to go here by Judge's camp, they hadn't gone there yet? And maybe they saw even a glimpse. They felt that feeling of Aaron Judge gone, and now maybe you got to step up another level? Very possible. Those things happen. We've seen deals get kicked out because they get leaked on Twitter, and then all of a sudden the incumbent team goes in and off. We've seen that before. All right? That's not new. But regardless of what the case is, the Yankees had to get this deal done. They needed Aaron Judge more than he needed them. Now, you can make the case that Aaron Judge needed the Yankees because you could sit there and say, hey, look, if you took 9 years at, let's say it's 375, 380, whatever ends up coming out, right? And you took those years from the San Francisco Giants, again, hypothetically, okay? And we know it was 360. So let's say you took the 360 from the Giants. The Giants, even if they go do that, right? Even if they add on beyond that, and they already have added on and added Mitch Haniger right beforehand. Even if they did all of that, where are they going? They're not nearly as good as the Dodgers or the Padres this year. They're not going to be nearly as good as either of those teams in 2024. So then maybe by 2025, and by the way, that's the team that lost Rodon, who would need to get somebody to replace him. And look, I like Logan Webb. I like some of what they have, but they need pitching. They need hitting. They weren't good enough a year ago in that division, and they ain't going to be good enough now. So you would have been sitting there if you're an Aaron Judge saying, I got the Yankees. I got the gold standard because I'm sorry. And look, I'm not a Yankee fan, but it's Yankees, Cowboys, Lakers, Celtics, Montreal Canadiens. That's it. I mean, that's all you got. All right. That's it. If you are sitting there and you got the Yankees, the king of the city, you're pretty much being told, hey, maybe you'll be made captain of the Yankees and $300 some odd million. And at even money, you're going to tell me you're going to go to the Giants to not win when right away, look, for all the Yankees didn't do, and this is where people sometimes get crazy, and we're all this way, All right. I root for a team that won 101 games last year. And we talk about they collapsed. They suck. How could they do this? How did they do that? Now, even though they lost DeGrom, brought in Verlander, bring back Diaz, or they got to bring back Nimmo. They need 6 other guys. This is the world we live in. But I got news for you, people. What makes it so amazing what the Astros have done, barring I understand some of the ways they did it years ago, is the fact that they've been able to stay at such a high, consistent level to get to 6 LCSs in a row. You don't do things like that. And for all the things you want to say, you don't look. The Braves down here in Atlanta where I live, what 14, 15 division titles and won 1 World Series. It's not that easy to do. You don't have many repeat champions. It's why the Astros, just to get back to where they just were, went out and already got a Jose Abreu, and they won't be done and try and get better. Why the Dodgers have consistently tried to do that and find different ways to stay at the top of the hill in the West, to go and have a season they just have, winning all those games. It is not easy. To be fair, the Yankees won a ton of games. First 2 years Booney was there, they won 100-plus games. In the shortened season, Brasso with the home run off Chapman, the Yankees were the favorite, seemingly by a lot of people, and I know, to go win the World Series most of that year and down the stretch and into the postseason. They weren't expected to be knocked out. The Yankees are always going to be a team that, with Aaron Judge and with what they have, Garrett Cole, Nestor Cortez, Luis Severino, etc., right? And Jameson Taillon now in the Cubs. I get it. But they got plenty there. You're going to have guys that still look, because you don't know what you're getting out of Donaldson. You're hoping Stanton stays healthy enough and is productive. We get the questions that they have. What happens at shortstop, right? Do they still look at, other, pieces? Benintendi, could he still be in play to come back? Will they look at Nimmo? Will they look at other Rodon, whoever? They're trying to get better, but as constituted now, the Yankees are a way better team with Aaron Judge than the Giants would be with Aaron Judge. They're a better team with Aaron Judge than I think the Padres would be with Aaron Judge, in terms of where they are in the American League and battling against, because they don't have to beat the Dodgers like the Padres would in their division. They don't. And it's no disrespect to the Blue Jays or the Rays, who we know are both going to be there, or the Orioles, who are up and coming, or the Red Sox, who are trying to figure it out, at least in a lot of conversations, whatever that means. Or the Astros, or what the Guardians put together. But you're not afraid of most of those teams outside of Houston. And with Aaron Judge, you're right back there in that mix. And we sit there, and Yankee fans will say, well, just to give you an example, just because it's fitting here for the chat purposes, we sit here live. Alex says, Aaron Judge is not worth the money. He can't lead a team and show up in the playoffs. Now, look, Aaron Judge didn't have a good playoff last year. And I know people don't want to hear this. Don't take it from me. Go talk to hitters and ask them and guys who are around them and guys in the league what it must have been like to carry the Yankees. We're talking about weight. Carrying the Yankees, carrying the history, carrying all those at-bats, carrying all the pressure, carrying all the media into everything that he was doing all year. Now, look, you get paid this kind of money like he just got paid. You're an MVP like Aaron Judge is. You're a historic player like now he is. You are expected, especially in New York, to not care about those things, right? To be you're an Avenger at that point, and you have to be good enough to be great no matter what. So you're supposed to have a playoff where you go and have the Bryce Harper playoff he just had in Philadelphia. But Bryce Harper didn't have to, and it's nothing against Bryce, have to wear what Aaron Judge was having to wear down the stretch of that season, which would have worn anybody the hell out. He led off a game with a double in the middle of that stretch where he was red hot, hitting like 400 over a span of 10 days, and he didn't hit a home run, and there were sighs of like despair from the fans. Nobody can understand what that must have been like, and I'm sorry, whether or not you like it or understand it, you got to have, it's not even empathy, like some kind of common sense to get, hey, look, I can't really get on Aaron Judge for not being, the guy that I needed him to be so much in the playoffs last year, because he felt like he was the only guy, first of all, in the lineup. Did you watch them? They couldn't hit a lick. And he spent months being that guy, helping drag that team there. That's how he got the most valuable player award there in the first place. Everybody knocks on everything. There'll be people sitting there saying it's too much money. You know what? $360 million, people, is too much money for any athlete, for any player in a world that the athletes are going to do it. Jeez, I mean, $360 million, right? Speaking of arson, pay that to a firefighter. Pay that to a teacher. I get it. Right? I totally understand. But at the end of the day, people, it is worth the money and then some. You know why it's worth the money and then some? Because let's go back to the 45 minutes to an hour yesterday, and I want you to take me to that feeling. When you are, and I said this, I talked about this yesterday a little bit, and I've said this now for years, and I always try and attribute, because I think, real life, how do we try and understand what these feelings are like when you're a free agent, when you're sitting there? Everybody wants to be wanted. Aaron Judge got over $213 million. It was put out publicly. He didn't think it was enough money, and it shouldn't have been put out publicly. He bet on himself. The guy did everything and then some in a year that was unheard of and historic in New York, with all that cauldron of all that pressure, without the support in the lineup. He earned all of this money, and now he needed the Yankees to show, hey, look, if anybody should understand what I'm worth and anybody should understand what I can do, it should be the team that I just did it for. There's nothing wrong with that or that thinking. And the Yankees had to pay it up, and they did. And good for them. But when you allow players to go out there and date, it is like any kind of relationship anybody has ever been in. I don't care. You're watching or listening to this right now, whether it's live or you're in the podcast, Apple, Spotify, everywhere you get them. And thank you for listening. If you are sitting there and you're in a relationship of any kind, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever, and you say to them, hey, look, you know what, go on a few dates. I know we've been married a few years, but I want you to go on a few dates. Go date the Padres. Go date the Giants. Go date the Dodgers. You know what? A lot of your husbands and wives and boyfriends and girlfriends, they ain't coming home. Because life better out there than it is where you are. That's the dangerous game you play when you let it get here. And obviously, we're dealing with a specific situation in terms of the way that Aaron Judge bet on himself and how he netted that, like as an $150 million net gain. Think of that. How about them apples? Big apples. But when you allow that to happen, that's how Freddie Freeman leaves the Braves and goes to the Dodgers. That's why Xander Bogaerts probably going to walk. It's why Dansby Swanson probably going to walk. That's what happens. So at the highest level, give the Yankees credit because they knew the spot they were in. They knew they were SOL, as they say, family show. And they went and they did what they had to do, and they paid the man what they had to pay him. Anybody who says a peep is an idiot. In terms of if you're a Yankee fan, you're crazy. I don't want to hear it. And by the way, if Aaron Judge has 4 great years and they make the playoffs all 4 years and they don't win a World Series, it's still worth it. And in year 5 he does it, it's still worth it, especially if he can do it in year 6 or somehow something in 7, 8, 9, because I think you're eating 3 of these. I think you look at it, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, Meatloaf said. 2/3 of this deal ain't bad. You get 6 years of Aaron Judge somewhat close to or between the great Aaron Judge and the Judgian Aaron Judge that we saw last year, you take that at the 6 years, and it's worth it. But think about without him. Are you winning the division next year if Aaron Judge is not on this team? The answer is no. 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 If Aaron Judge is gone and they bring in Carlos Rodon and Brandon Nimmo, and I'm just throwing this out there, right? He goes to the Giants with his cousin Arson, and here's Nimmo, and here comes Carlos Rodon. Are the Yankees winning the division next year? Probably not. Then they got to sign Ohtani. What if they don't? Well, with Aaron Judge now, you're going to go win the East most likely. You stay healthy enough. With Aaron Judge now, you're going to be there and in there to win there every single year. And that is why it's worth the money. And that's why the guy got paid. And that's why you had to match and do whatever you had to do, or as close as they came. Kudos to the Yankees. And I think it's the right decision for Aaron Judge, too. Look, the grass is always greener on the other side. But at the end of the day, you're the star of the Yankees, and what you just did, especially in the way this developed the last 24 hours, is more heroic in some ways to a Yankee fan than anything you did on the damn field. The fact that you could have left, the fact that you could have walked for more money, and you came home, now you're more of a hero. I mean, it's the crazy thing, right? They're booing the guy, people getting on him last year, which is nuts. But now you're even more of a hero than you ever were. because you're going to hear about loyalty. And then someone's going to tell you, well, loyalty at $360 million. I don't know if that's necessarily loyalty. That just seems like a no-brainer. But Aaron Judge back to the Yankees, and this is something that had to happen for both sides. If you're a Giant fan, you're beside yourself because Aaron Judge would have put you in the mix, put you in the conversation. Aaron Judge and, Mitch Haniger already in tow. And by the way, now it seems like the Haniger signing, does it not? Last night was an ode to hearing the reports Aaron Judge was telling teammates last night he's staying. So now you can put those dots together, which, by the way, are easier in post than it is at the time, Arson. But the Giant fans got to be beside themselves because that is like having a carrot of unbelievable size. What was that in The Princess Bride? Yeah, I'm quoting it. The rodent of unusual size. That's like a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man size carrot dangled in front of your face that just got taken from you. That not easy either. You're pivoting in your Giant mind as a fan to Mitch Haniger, and I expect now even heavier in on Carlos Correa or a Brandon Nimmo or both or wherever the Giants go. It's not Aaron Judge. And that's the world, and that's the life, and that's the reality the Yankee fan was living in last night. The Yankee player was living in last night. The Yankee brass was living in last night. Now that you don't have to live there in that space, I don't want to hear a peep about what happens in year 7, 8, 9. Deal had to get done. It did get done, and all will rise once again in the Bronx. They didn't start the fire, but they certainly put it out. You can always watch and listen to what we put out. It's part of the Believe Network. It's Unfiltered, as always presented by BetOnline.